Let's talk about how to structure your videos. I know that as business owners, we understand that we need to create consistent content, but when it comes to video, there's sometimes a bit of a blank about this, or working out how to actually structure video which will engage with our audience. Now I know that most of us can't sit in front of a camera and suddenly just ad-lib and there you have it, you have a perfect video. Most of us do have to go through a structure which involves a bit of planning, a bit of thought, and in this in-depth training I want to show you how you can structure your videos to get maximum engagement that will reach your audience. I'm Simon Banks. I'm a video strategist and producer, and for decades I have been supporting businesses creating video content. Now I'm on a bit of a mission to make your business into a media company, because if you can create consistent video content, you'll get visible, you'll get leads, and you'll get new clients. So subscribe to this channel if you want lots of tips and know-how on how you can create video effective content. So let's start with the training. Structuring your video content. First of all, let's look at why structure is important. An optimized video structure will present your content in a logical, easy to digest format. It will deliver value, it will engage your audience, and it will encourage your audience to stick around for as long as possible. And I come on to that a little bit in a moment. Now, very few of us can sit down in front of a camera and just ad-lib and everything comes out perfectly. So what we really need to do is sit down and plan. Planning is the key here. Sit down to write out what content we actually want to say, and I'll come more into details about how to do that. But we need to think about the audience first and what information that we need to partake to our audience. So before we sit down and record any video content, we do need to think about it. We need to plan it, and we do need to do some writing as well. Even though video is a visual medium, I do believe that we should be writing down what we're going to say to a certain degree. And I think ultimately we need to look at, what are the challenges our audience has. As business owners, coaches, we want to serve our audience. And in terms of video content, we want to be talking about the challenges our audience has. And maybe you have a story that you can tell. It could be your own experience with some challenges and how you overcame them. It could be working with clients, or maybe it could be just some what we call thought leadership pieces as well. So we need to think about, and this is sort of an exercise to do, is to write down all the challenges that your audience has and how you can solve those challenges. And we also have to look at, to really think about any video content. Why would someone want to watch this content? Why would they want to listen to me? All right, and I'm assuming that as a business owner and a coach, you're an expert in what you do, so people will want to watch you if you can tell the right stories and help them, serve them in terms of overcome their challenges. And also need to think about what the point of a video is. When we create video content, we need to have a point to it, ideally. Now, it could be lots of things, from purely just education. It could be to entertain. It could be to illustrate, to show. It could be to review something as well. So there can be lots of points to video, and it doesn't all have to be life-changing in a way, but it does have to have a point to it. Otherwise you're just creating content for content's sake, and if it doesn't really have a point to it, it's not going to be very interesting to watch. And also at the end of video content, we sort of want to know what is the takeaway. Okay, what do you want our audience to do afterwards? What do you want them to do, think, and feel? All right, so when it comes to creating video structure, it does depend on platform, and the structure will be different for each platform. And I'm just going to briefly run through what we have here. So YouTube, I do differentiate YouTube as a different sort of platform. YouTube tends to be more longer form content. I think the average YouTube video is like 8 minutes or something like that, and it definitely doesn't have a structure. And if you type in video structure for YouTube, you will see that a lot of YouTubes have a structure, which is partly what we're going to go through today. But For social media, we are creating social media for Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter, and this will probably have a different structure to YouTube, as a different structure to maybe a website video or a landing page, a sales video. And the structure will determine basically how long the video should be. And this depends on the platform. As I said, YouTube tends to be what we call longer form, anything from 8 minutes upwards. Social media, I recommend that it's got to be less than 2 minutes generally. Your website, it could anything be 2 minutes to 20 minutes, really depending on what you're trying to achieve in your audience. Again, with sales videos, if you're selling an online course, for example, you've probably seen them when you've looked at other people selling courses, kind of a very long sales video. It can be a video series of 15 minutes or more. And all these videos will have structure. So it's not just about the platforms, okay? It should always be about maximizing how you maximize value for your audience. So this is a question I often get is, how long should my video be? And I don't like to answer with how long is a piece of string. Generally always be as long as it needs to be, depending on where your audience is in what I call the know, like you, trust you journey for your business, the customer journey. For example, I've been through some of this content before. If they don't know about you, if they're not aware of you, then tend to be shorter content is better, sort of under 2 minutes. But as they go down the customer journey and when they get to what I call the consideration phase, when they're actually going to think about working with you or buying your product or your service, then you can have longer form videos, which could be 10 minutes or more. Duration probably will depend on the type of content. It does depend on the platform as well. If you're doing a video for TikTok, they're going to be short, right? They're going to be 30 seconds. If you're doing stories for Facebook, again, they're only 15-second clips. So it does depend on where they are. General rule, if you're doing social media, I think shorter tends to perform better than longer, and I'll come on to more about that in a moment. But obviously, there's no hard or fast rule when it comes to duration. It does depend a little bit on platform limitations. And I do have this social media video cheat sheet that I will put a link that you can download in this module here, just so you can look through, depending on which platform you're doing. I always suggest that you do more, you focus on 2 platforms to start with, and then create content for those 2 platforms before branching out across all the platforms. But it really just becomes down to where your audience is. Do you know who they are? Who are your potential clients? Who are your current customers? Are you trying to reach your team, staff or suppliers? Maybe just trying to, if you're doing for LinkedIn, you're just talking to your peers or your followers. Ideally, you need to know the demographic of your audience as well. Who you're appealing to, what age are they, what gender, what location, what interests do they have? What job role or sector do they work on? You need to work out where do they hang out online, and ideally should be creating content for where they are, as in, are they on LinkedIn, are they on Twitter, are they on TikTok? And you should be creating content for them where they are, rather than just creating content where you like to be. You need to put yourself in the audience shoes, okay? You need to see if they're looking at your content, if you can, put yourself in their shoes and thinking, if I'm watching Simon Banks, for example, what do I think they want to see from me? All right. And it does help you if you answer these questions as well. Think about, who is the video for? Why do they need to watch? What do they need to hear and see? When do they need to watch it? And after watching, what is the takeaway? And where they're watching in terms of, are they commuting? Which will mean maybe on a mobile, maybe in their office. So maybe they might have headphones in or no sound. Or are they consuming at home? I guess since the pandemic, a lot of people are at home watching content. Really doesn't really important in terms of what device they're watching, because that will determine a little bit on the type of content you create. And and your video needs to reflect your brand in a way. So ideally do create a style of video, and most of my style videos are generally talking heads. I do a lot of educational videos like this, so I'm talking to camera and then maybe I'll presenting to some slides. But you might be happier walking and talking type of thing. You might be happier being not so much on camera but using motion graphics or explainer videos and things like that. But ultimately you need to create a style in terms of, like I do here, which is this is where I create most of my videos, in this location. I'll often put music and some graphics on my videos as well, and I do have like a font and logo that I use as well. And a question I often get asked is the types of content you should create. And when it comes to video structure, each one of the types of videos that you can create will need to have a structure. Whether it is doing a talking head video like this, or a training video, right down through behind the scenes, or even some webinar, or even course videos. These will all have a form of video structure. And and you might say, well, what do I say when it comes to video structure? What kind of content can I do? Here's some ideas for you, possibly where to start. You can talk about frequently asked questions. What objections do you have from your potential clients? Talk about the challenges your clients have, the benefits of what you'll do. You can have process videos of how you do things. You can have some thought leadership. You can have onboarding videos. You can have about you videos, product reviews. I mean, there's no shortage of content you can create. It's all about, you might be familiar with Gary Vaynerchuk. He calls it the jab, jab, right hook when it comes to educational. It's always about adding value. You add value, add value, add value, and then maybe in the fourth piece of content, you might ask some sort of call to action. All right, let's go on to actually the structure of a video. All right, so this is you'll see this a lot, particularly for maybe structuring a YouTube video, but this is the basis of a structure of video, and you can apply it depending on the kind of content you're creating. So you're generally going to have a hook, you might have an introduction, you're going to have what I call a mini call to action. Then you come into your content, which will be the bulk of your video. You might include like a bonus part of your video as well. Might have a call to action again at the end, and then you have an end and conclusion. So let's go into these into some detail. A hook. A hook is really important because in this day and age of social media, particularly, or even YouTube, or even website, you need to really start your videos quickly. Okay, you need to attract their attention, and the hook needs to be shorter than 7 seconds or under. Okay, so a view is counted on social media platforms as 3 seconds, and generally if it's in a news feed, people are scrolling. So don't start with a logo or something like that. Don't start with saying, hi, I'm so and so. You basically need to go straight into your content. Now often I will ask a question. It could be as simple as do you want to get engagement on your videos? Okay, and basically I'm talking, and then I might go into in this video I'm going to talk about the 7 steps on how you can get your videos to be more engaging. Simple as that. Okay, that's probably less than 7 seconds. You can talk about the benefits. So it could be as simple as, if you get more engaging videos, which generally mean that you're going to build your audience to grow your business. You can think of your audience. So for example here I could say, as a business owner, are you not getting engagement on your videos? In this video I'm going to give you 7 tips that will make your videos more engaging, which will build your audience and grow your business. Okay, it's something as simple as that. You need to be clear on the problem you're solving and the outcome you'll deliver.
So here's an example. Here goes. Are you a business owner who are frustrated that you're not getting any engagement with your content? In this video, I'm going to show you 7 ways where you can create video content which will engage your audience, which will increase your leads to grow your business. So hopefully this is a hook which it'll resonate with someone watching it going, yeah, I'm making content but not getting much traction on it, and yes, I want to learn more on how I can make more engaging videos which will help my business.
So then we come to an intro, and depending on the platform, you might not necessarily have to do an intro. So for example, when I do a lot of LinkedIn videos, I don't then go into, hi, I'm Simon Banks, I'm a video coach and strategist, and I help business owners create their own video content. Okay, you might want to do this for probably for YouTube and potentially maybe some of your webinar, for example. But in the intro, this is the bit where you do introduce yourself and basically giving your credibility. Okay, basically you're showing that who you do, what you do, how long maybe you've been doing it for as well. And for me, this is probably talking about my experience, how long I've been working in the industry, who I'm serving, and what kind of results you can expect. And the intro can be a little bit longer. It could be talking about why people don't get engagement from video, as the previous example that I gave. And again, ideally, I want to indicate here who my audience is, and generally my audience are business owners and coaches. And you can also cover about, in this video, I'm going to cover the 7 steps to increase engagement on your video. Okay, and possibly you can talk about how you're going to cover it as well. In terms of, I'm going to show you the steps, I'm going to do this review, I'm going to do the behind the scenes, whatever it might be. The next bit then is what I call a mini call to action. Like it or not, the average viewer retention on a video is only 50 to 60%. Okay, this is according to YouTube. All right, if you look at any basically video graph, this is one of my videos on YouTube. As you can see, obviously when someone starts watching, they're watching 100%, and as you go through the video, you can see basically the viewers, it drops off, and this happens on every video. Okay, every video this happens. Here the line in the red is basically where YouTube consider a view, which is 30 seconds. In this video, it actually performed pretty well, I think, because you can see there's not a huge drop off. It's generally a slow line which goes down, and by the end of it, on average, is like 20% of people watch to the end, which generally means that 80% of people are not watching the end of your video, which is why it's important to have a call to action at the beginning of the video. Okay, at the start of the video. Now, generally, this could be a small, what I call a small ask. It could be just like, share, or subscribe to this video. Okay.
If you can get your audience to start liking your post, commenting on your video, subscribing to your YouTube channel, the platforms see that if people are engaging with your content, they are more likely to show it in people's feeds.
You could put a bigger ask in here. So for example, I was using the engagement of your video. For example, you could have, say, you can download my cheat sheet where I give you these 7 tips, and therefore the call to action is earlier. All right, because we know that people are not going to watch till the end.
So talking of the end, that's the end of part 1. In the second part, I go into a lot more detail about how to create ideas for content, how to deliver a script to camera, and how to actually get your audience to watch your video. So join me in part 2. If you like this part, please leave a comment or like, and I shall see you in the next video.